Sooner fans, Longhorn Nation, welcome to episode 209 of the Bevo Podcast, the only podcast exclusively dedicated to the greatest rivalry in college football, the University of Oklahoma and the University of Texas. I'm here with my man, Kevin Miller. I am John Whitson. Kevin, it's week 12. It is week 12. This is what we signed up for. The University of Oklahoma at Tuscaloosa, the University of Texas in Athens, Georgia, the two biggest games of the week with the most implications on the college football playoff picture. There is a scenario where if this wouldn't have happened, OU is hosting TCU and Texas is going to West Virginia. And they would be meaningless. It would be a snooze fest. Kevin, this is what we signed up for. The eyes of college football nation focus on our teams playing for something that matters against the biggest boys in college football. And the crazy part is, this weekend, Oklahoma and Texas. Now, Texas played for a SEC championship, so you're in the lead. I'm not discrediting that. I'm not forgetting that. But what I'm saying is, Oklahoma and Texas have a chance this weekend to make a statement that says, we always belong to the SEC. We are the bluest of blue bloods. We deserve to be here, and we're going to beat your ass this weekend. Now, I saw a big-time Texas personality on the X just now. Kyle Umlong, is that his name? Umlong?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And I'm not throwing shade at his last name. I really don't know how to pronounce it. And I like his stuff. I follow his stuff. He is funny. I mean, at the heart,
he's a great follow.
He's the reason why you're on Twitter, whether you're an OU fan or a Texas fan, doesn't matter. But he literally just posted that he's rooting for Oklahoma against Alabama because it makes Texas's schedule look better. I'm telling you right now, I hope Georgia beats y'all by 3 touchdowns.
Oh, same. I hope Alabama crushes y'all.
So I don't know what that dude's talking about. I would not expect that from him. I think he's caught up in the hype. I think he's caught up in the SEC whirlwind, and he doesn't know how to control his emotions, just about like all of us. And so what I'm saying is, though, if they were to both win, it would be a stamp of approval on the induction of these two schools in the SEC. And look, dude, I don't know who's going to win. It's interesting. The lines are exactly the same. I don't know if you noticed that.
I do. Points. Yeah, 5.5 for each.
5.5 points on the road. Okay, Texas at night, Oklahoma at 2:30 in the afternoon. The crazy part is what that line tells me is they have a chance.
We have a chance. There is a very realistic chance of both schools going on a road against, like you said, the biggest brands, not just in the Southeastern Conference, but in all of college football. There is a chance for our respective programs to beat both of these schools, and it would be insane if that happened. Real quick, let me just say this too.
Yeah, please.
How awesome is it to be playing, first of all, games that matter in the month of November? You guys have gone through a few years of not having that, right?
Agreement.
And Texas clearly went through an entire decade of not playing in games that truly matter for anything in November. So it's just really nice to be relevant and to be nervous for a football game this late in the season.
To be nervous, to be cautiously optimistic, to know what is ahead of us. Look, I say this all the time. Coaches and players got to play them one game at a time. Right? That has to be their mantra.
Correct.
They can't look forward. They can't look forward, and nor should either team overlook Alabama or Georgia. I mean, what are we talking about? There's enough to handle for a football team right there, right? So, however, for fans, I'm allowed to say whatever I want and think whatever I want.
We're allowed to dream big and think what this could lead to, what a victory could possibly lead to.
Oklahoma beats Alabama, and I'm saying it right now, they're in the SEC championship. The
Okay.
SEC championship, they beat Alabama. Now, I guess y'all would provided you either get beat by Georgia, or even if you beat Georgia and lose to A&M, I think OU's in with 2 losses. You got Ole Miss with 2 losses. I'm worried about Ole Miss at Florida this week. I'll just say that out right now. I'm a little concerned.
We only have 1 conference loss so far, though.
It's a good point. God, what if
Our
we
second
rematch?
loss was against Ohio State.
What if we rematch, Kevin?
There is
There's
who's the
that-
OU version? You guys have a statistician
Is it-
too, and I can't remember his name.
Not
You know what I'm talking
Blinken.
about?
Not Blinken.
Yeah. It is him.
Yeah.
He posted a crazy scenario of games that would have to happen in order for Texas and Oklahoma to rematch for the SEC.
And it wasn't that crazy.
No, it isn't. No, it's
these are
slightly unlikely, but not unheard of.
These are 5.5-point spreads, Kevin.
Correct.
It's a 5.5-point spread. Oklahoma's going to be a favorite in their next 2 games, regardless of what happens in this game. So
the SEC would lose their minds.
I would lose my mind, Kevin.
Of course we would.
Lose my mind.
As excited as we would be, they would be equally as devastated. Can you imagine Georgia and Alabama fan, Florida, LSU, Tennessee fan, if Texas and Oklahoma are playing for the SEC championship, taking over their beloved conference?
Listen, I don't want Texas to have success. We have to recruit against you every single year. You're our biggest rivalry. Any success that befalls you is a negative in our column. All right. It is a 1-for-1 inverse relationship. Okay. Something good happens to Oklahoma, that meant something bad inevitably happened to Texas, and vice versa. There's no way you can root for the other team. However, as the host of the Bevo Podcast, it would be fan-freaking-tastic. Oklahoma play Texas again in the SEC. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yes.
And you wouldn't want any part of us. I agree with that, right? You don't want us in a rematch.
Why?
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that.
Why would we not want y'all in a
Dude,
rematch?
it's 2018 all over again. Dude, we laid an egg.
I'm sorry. I don't see Kyler Murray on the field. Are you serious?
We laid an egg on October 11th. Y'all won by default. You won just because you didn't throw up as much on yourselves as we did. I think you could agree with that. You can agree that we limped in with a hurt quarterback and a hurt pride, and we were terrible, Kevin. It was a joke.
Your pride, hurt pride. You walked out with hurt. You walked out with hurt pride.
I did. 100% I did.
But no, I mean, look, all respect. You can't compare this to 2018 because y'all had Superman on offense.
And he's not even the best OU quarterback in the league right now.
No, he's not. He's not.
Dude, I tell you what, Tyrod Taylor doesn't look bad for them. I don't know if they won, but he looked pretty good in the other game I was watching. Isn't it Tyrod Taylor? Who's playing for him? No, Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett. Those could be the same players. Okay. Let's dive in. Oklahoma plays Alabama. As I said, 5.5-point favorite. Over under is 45.5. I kind of want to go with some statistics first, and let's see where that takes us in terms of a conversation. Starting with the quarterbacks. Ty Simpson having a very good year. I kind of the same thing as Julian's saying. I've said this. He seems to be improving with each game, whether he's getting a better rhythm with his receivers, whether he's getting more confidence, whether he's getting a better relationship with DeBoer and DeBoer's learning what works for him, or a combination of all of it. Every single game, he gets a little better. That's a concern for Oklahoma. It's at 2,460 yards, 66.9% completion percentage, 21 touchdowns. Kevin, 1 interception.
Yeah, he's really protecting the football. Really, really done a great job of protecting it.
Go
ahead.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. Is that a Julian saying thing, or is that a Caleb DeBoer offense that focuses on not putting the ball into peril?
I think it has to be both, right? I mean, because no matter how much your coach should not throw interceptions, sometimes he's going to put the ball in harm's way. So clearly, it's a little bit of both.
I don't remember. Did Penix have a lot of interceptions under him at Washington?
I don't think so. Man. He was awesome. And
Yeah.
I think the thing about Penix is just his placement is what was so crazy.
Yeah. Well,
How he could place the ball even in traffic. So,
the
but no,
glimmer
Simpson.
of
It's a great story for him too. Just seeing him wait out his time. Usually, quarterbacks at this point, if they hadn't won the starting job, they would have transferred elsewhere. But for him to stick with it, keep developing even under a new staff, and because remember he got his chance before they benched Milroe for him, and he just wasn't ready.
yeah.
And so for him to stick with it, it's cool to see him. It finally paying off for him, and it's definitely paying off for Alabama.
The one chink in the armor on his stat line is he has 15 sacks. So that's a potential opportunity for Oklahoma. Now we're going to talk about the injury report. But as the injury report goes, I think the biggest issue there when we talk about sacks is R. Mason Thomas, as of Wednesday at 7:51 p.m., is listed as questionable. Now, I think of anybody on the questionable list that includes Javonte Barnes, Taylor Tatum, and Jaden Jackson, I think R. Mason Thomas, I think he's a dog, man. I think he wants to play at Alabama. I don't think he wants to sit down and take it off. Not that anybody does, but I think this dude wants to play, and I think he probably has the best chance to kind of climb up that injury report. Additionally, Jaden Jackson, huge addition back to the lineup. Okay, we talked about it, right? He played a little bit against Tennessee, right?
Yeah, he was out there. I saw him out there against Tennessee. As far as R. Mason Thomas goes, man, yeah, I mean he's a dog. He's been great. I mean that's a play that OU fans will never forget that he made in Knoxville. That game was really, really close to getting away from you, and for him to make that play, not just pick up the ball, but to house it.
We had to have it.
Yeah, correct. The offense at that point wasn't doing anything, and you weren't stopping them either. So to make that play, yeah, it's just a big time play, and for him to get injured on that play, so he's going to be doing everything in his power to get back on the field because you're really going to need him. You can stop the run without him, but you're really going to need him just to, because he's just your top guy when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback. And this is a game you're going to need to get consistent pressure on Ty Simpson. You were able to get it on Joey Aguilar in the last game, and it really affected him. You'll need him to be able to affect Ty Simpson this week.
In comparison, John Mateer, 1949 yards, 63.8% completion, only 8 touchdowns against 7 interceptions. Difference in his game, though, is 306 rush yards and 6 touchdowns. So you have you got more of a dual threat coming with Mateer versus the accuracy and the poise in the pocket that Simpson's bringing. It's hard for me to give a firm advantage one way or the other. And this isn't being a homer. I think Simpson's clearly the better passer, better thrower of the ball. I don't think there's any question about that. But when you've got the ability to run like Mateer does, especially you saw it in the second half against Tennessee, it can affect the game in a very positive manner for Oklahoma.
Oh, correct. Yeah, it just opens up the offense that much more because you're already having to account for the running game with the running backs. You're having to account for the receivers. Sometimes you can do all that. You can cover up well, but then, when you have a guy who's able to affect the game running the football, it's just, it can drive defensive coordinators and defenses in general. He's just driving crazy. And it looks like he's starting to get more healthy and more comfortable running the football. And I know this bye week was huge for him just to get more healthy. I'm not even talking about just his hand injury. I'm talking about just the hits that he's been taking all season. We knew that it was going to catch up to him at some point, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like against Tennessee, it was a step in the right direction with him running the football. He is going to have to do some things better throwing the football as you get into, these championship weeks, as we call them. But that running ability certainly helps.
He can't have the turnovers, Kevin. This is
not in that stadium.
You're not surviving. We survived Tennessee with a couple turnovers. You're not surviving Alabama. Alabama's a different beast. Alabama has wins over 4 ranked teams. They've played one of the hardest, if not the hardest schedule, depending on who looks at it, in the country to date. They have beat some big teams, big boy. Yes, they lost to Florida State. Okay, great. Whatever. Texas lost to Florida and we lost to you. I mean, but since then, it has been big win after big win after big win after big win. And it's not because there's some amazing offense or even some amazing defense. It's because they're not making a lot of mistakes, Kevin. They're not shooting themselves in the foot. They are playing good, solid, methodical football outside of the run game, which I'm going to get to. And that's where Mateer, he's got to get on that side of the game because he throws a pick or two, this game's over.
Correct. You get the crowd into it. Yeah, you don't expect Alabama to kind of have those self-inflicted mistakes, kind of like, we saw from Tennessee
right
in that game. And as good as you guys were defensively getting after and some of the coverage stuff that you did, but they did some things that, they certainly are still thinking about how they let that part of the game slip away from them. You don't expect a Kalen DeBoer coach team to do that. And also, John, I just wonder, from an Alabama standpoint, is this revenge? Is there any kind of revenge factor after what y'all did to them last year? Destroying, just derailing their playoff hopes in a game that just was never close. It was 24-3, and it felt like it was worse than that. They never had a chance. You just completely dominated them on both lines.
I think there's an element of revenge factor that lasts up through preparation.
Yeah.
And then when you get hit in the mouth, then it doesn't, then you're playing
football game. Yeah.
I also think, I think the coaches, right? I think the coaches in this case might take it even more personally than the players because you don't have Jalen Milroe this year, right? So he's not having to reprove or, prove that he could beat Oklahoma. Right? That's not a factor for revenge. It's Ty Simpson. Dude's like, I was on the bench, bro. I didn't have anything to do with that. Yeah. I think there's an element of that, but I could see DeBoer. I could see the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, the offensive staff going, we're scoring more than 3 points. Correct. We're better than that. So I see it in a lock in factor prior to the game. But once they get into the game, it comes down to not turning over the ball. And, Kevin, it comes down to running the ball. And as much as I have been maligning Oklahoma's run game this year, and I think fairly, I don't think I've been out of bounds at all about it.
No.
The last 2 weeks, we've seen Xavier Robinson play really, really well. I think we've made a lot of good moves, especially with the offensive line. Alabama is worse than us at rushing the ball.
Correct. Has not been there.
Their leading rusher is Jam Miller. He has 88 carries, 321 yards, 3.6 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. We have Oklahoma with as crappy as I think our run game has been this year, outside the improvement of Xavier Robinson the last 2 weeks. We have 2 rushers with more yards. And both of those rushers have more touchdowns. That's pretty crazy, right? Who would have thought Oklahoma would run the ball better than Alabama at any point ever?
Yeah, they're one of the worst in the country at it.
What does
which
that
is crazy. Because even that's a really good question because it's not by design. They had 1,000-yard rusher when he was at Washington and they went to the national championship game. They ran it very well.
That was that big back. That was that big back, right?
Yeah. I can't remember the kid's name, but I thought he was a good player.
Yeah.
So it just hasn't really worked for them here, and I'm not sure why. Right? They've got a big physical offensive line. They've got talented backs, right? I mean, Jamarian Miller, everybody wanted him coming out of high school, but he just has not going for them this year, which is really bad for them in a matchup against Oklahoma. Because against Oklahoma, I feel like to have any type of success, you really need to be able to run the football because you can't allow Venables to pin his ear to say, hey, we're just going to come after you the entire game. We're going to stop the run with the light box. We're going to drop 7, get after you with 4 with occasionally blitzing 5, but we're going to simulate which 5 so you don't know who's coming. And then that's when you really get into trouble. I think that's the only reason why Texas was able to win the game is they were able to get some sort of a running game going with the outside zone and kind of catch you guys in some of those blitzes. But if they don't do that, it could be a long day for Ty Simpson in that offense.
What was I going to say along those lines? I'm not sure. I lost my mind. But let's talk about the receiving core though for a minute too. This was an interesting stat to me when I started comparing receivers to receivers. So is it Jeremy Bernard?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Jeremy with a
It's Jeremy,
G?
yeah. Yeah, GER, yeah, Jeremy. If you pronounce it, it sounds the same, Jeremy Bernard.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
He has 41 receptions and 6 touchdowns. Ryan Williams, who we both acknowledge, probably the best receiver in the SEC. Well, I don't know. Cam Coleman's pretty good. But Ryan Williams, 36 receptions, 4 touchdowns. Well, dude, our best receiver, Satania, with 49 receptions, 8 more than Bernard. And Burks is at 42. That's 8 more than Ryan Williams. Does that surprise you that our top 2 receivers have more receptions than their top 2?
A little bit. A little bit. You guys maybe have been in more closer games where you guys have had to play and be more productive late than their guys do. But, Satania's been a great player for you guys. He's had a really good season. And, Burks, what are your thoughts on Burks this season?
Underperforming.
He always seems like a guy. Obviously, we know his talent, what he did in the spring game last year, what he showed at least in the beginning of the year. But he seems like someone we're always kind of waiting to kind of take that next step. He's never been he's never made the type of plays that change games. Satania has been actually that guy, which is I told you before the year I thought Satania would be your leading receiver this year, but I still thought that Deion Burks would have more of a playmaking impact where he makes that 180-yard catch, and we haven't really seen that either. But hey, the season's not over. There's still a chance.
And this might be unfair, but I feel like it's a feeling. I have nothing to really back this up. I probably should have looked up a stat or something, but I feel like he's had 1 or 2 big drops a game.
Okay.
That you're like pick up a third down or a drop with space in front where he's going to pick up some yardage, and it's just been kind of an underperforming season. But to your point, we got 3 games, and a lot of things can change in those 3 games. Look, I think the pivot, and this is not original at all, I think the pivot point for this game is turnovers. John Mateer has to take better care of the ball than he has to this point. He just can't have the stupid mistakes that he's made in other games, right? It just can't happen.
Yeah, real quick on that. Let me just piggyback on that real quick. It's interesting, right? Because I do think as an offense, you have to be aggressive and not leave anything in the tank, right? Because it's the best team that's left on your schedule. However, somehow you're going to have to do that without being over aggressive from the quarterback spot, because we've seen Mateer be over aggressive and it can cost you, especially if he's over aggressive in the passing game. I will say this, John. I was concerned about him running the ball too much. He has 20 carries against Michigan and stuff. Not this game. You run it as many times as you need to. This is different.
Yep.
100%. You do what you have to do to win the football game. And if that means running your quarterback 20 times against a good defense, you do what you have to do. So, you just don't want to get him being over aggressive in the passing game and making some of those decisions where he's trying to make a play and throwing it up into coverage or throwing off his back foot. The mechanics have got to be better today or on Saturday, excuse me.
It's like the old story with Steve Owens, Heisman Trophy winner. Barry Switzer's his offensive coordinator. They're playing Oklahoma State, and he just keeps handing them the ball. And Steve Owens looks over at the sideline and taps the helmet like, I need to come out. And he's like, oh, no, you're not coming out. You're going to keep on going. Dude gets 55 carries against Oklahoma State.
Wow. Wild time.
Yeah, now that's a different time. You can't do 55 carries. But if he needs to run it 25 times, now I don't think he will. I don't think he needs to do that either, though, right? It needs to be a nice, balanced attack. I want the decisiveness that we saw against Tennessee. Play breaks down, he goes, right? He goes. Just go. Don't his arm isn't good enough to make a play. Right? I just don't think it is. When he throws on time, when he throws in rhythm, when he throws on the run, but not when he's making a play, when it's, kind of out of the pocket type stuff.
Yeah.
But you're not good enough to just hang around and then no, dude, it breaks down, go. Make them account for you. That's what I want to see from Mateer. I don't think that's asking too much. I think he can do it.
He absolutely can do it, and you're just better when it's like that. You don't have to. You don't want hero ball. You don't need it.
Before we transition to Texas, will you handicap the coaching matchup? So on one hand, I'm gonna set it up, and then I want to hear your thoughts. On one hand, you've got Kalen DeBoer, who you've been in love with now the entirety of this podcast. Undefeated against Dan Lanning, undefeated against Sark, undefeated against Kirby Smart. Coaching a team this year that many could say could be the best team in the country, right? They really, really could. That's on one side of the ledger. On the other side of the ledger is, in a lot of ways, a coach that struggled his first 3.5 years, up and down, some good moments, some not good moments. But when asked to do what he does best, which is dial up defense, it's Brent Venables. And we know what he did against Alabama last year in a huge matchup with a much less talented offense, with a quarterback in Jalen Milroe who was pretty darn freaking good, for 2 years. How do you handicap this? I'm sure you're going to give the advantage to Kalen DeBoer, but how close is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would give the advantage to DeBoer just based on the success he's had in big games, right? His record against the top 5 is wild, against the top 25, all that. And of course, he's taken the team to a national championship game. However, if you're looking at it just his offense versus Brent Venables' defense, then I feel like it's an elite coaching matchup. Now, he does have a coordinator, right? So I'm not sure. I don't think he's calling plays right now, but obviously he's going to be heavily involved in the offensive design and game planning, even if he's not calling the plays. So I think if you're just looking at it versus him as an offensive coordinator, Brent Venables versus a defensive coordinator, we're looking at a heavyweight matchup when it comes to coaching, right? But what I want to see is how do both teams handle the other aspects of the game? Who's going to control special teams? And that's going to be a big part of the Texas game, which we'll get to. But, the little things, the little coaching details, the little decisions, saving timeouts.
Clock management at the end of the half. Yeah. Yep.
Managing the clock, managing your timeouts, managing the flow of the game. Who's going to handle that matchup better? And it's going to play a big part in determining who wins the game. Because when you get these games, you have 2 talented football teams. It's those little things that are going to matter.
Oh, yeah. Well, I agree. I mean, I'm taking DeBoer in the coaching matchup. I don't think that's a big stretch.
I don't think it's unfair. Yeah, it's not, a slide on what we think of Brent Venables.
Right. I don't. But I think the coaching edge goes to DeBoer. However, I just went through a lot of statistics that are in Oklahoma's favor. Alabama's run game not being so hot. Our quarterback run game being pretty good. Our receivers comparing favorably with their receivers. We know what our defense can do. We've seen what our defense can do. I mean, you talked about it. We put pressure on Aguilar. The quarterback that gave us the most pressure was dual threat Chambliss, right? From Ole Miss. I mean, that guy killed us. And Sands not good. I'm not saying Simpson's not going to be running around like that. He's not fitted head Chambliss.
The thing is, though, I kind of like with Tennessee too. You have to get the pressure, right? I don't want to cover Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams down the field with a quarterback if he has time. So that's why it's so important for you guys to have our Mason Thomas, so you don't have to blitz as much. You don't have to rely on blitzes. You can simulate pressure, which still allows you just to bring 4, maybe 5 max. That way you just don't have to cover, because I don't want, even with Texas guys, I don't want to, no matter who you have at DB, you just don't want to have to cover Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard for an extended period of time in a play.
Listen, I think Gilroy's done a heck of a job as a freshman. I think he's playing way more minutes than anybody ever anticipated him playing. He's been great. He can't hold up the whole game against Ryan Williams.
No, Jeremy Bernard too. Bernard's really good, man. He's not flashy. He's not as flashy. But, I'm saying he's not as flashy as Ryan Williams is. He doesn't have that kind of flair to his game. He's so reliable. He's not like Matthew Golden was for Texas last year.
Yeah.
That's what Jeremy Bernard has been for them.
It's a 5.5-point game. We'll pick it here at the end. Moving to the University of Texas, the other big game. In fact, some could argue a bigger game. It's a top 10 matchup against two one-loss teams in the conference. By the way, if Alabama loses to OU, Alabama will still only have one conference loss. So I might have to walk back. Oklahoma makes it to the SEC championship, although they'd have a pretty good chance. That would be tough with a one loss. Alabama's still out there. Okay. Anyway, that just came to my mind. So Texas going to Atlanta. Arch and Gunnar Stockton. We started with the quarterbacks in the other game. Let's start with the quarterbacks here. Arch has more passing yards, 21-23 to 20-40. And more touchdowns, 18-15 than Gunnar Stockton. With as much criticism as has been heaped on Arch this year, would you have believed that he had better passing numbers than Gunnar Stockton through 11 games?
I mean, yes and no.
9 games, right? Whatever. How many games?
Yeah, the reason for that is just because, Texas doesn't run the ball well. And some of those games we were behind, and so we were having to throw more than we would like. But man, I think Gunnar Stockton's awesome. He was a huge question mark for me. Obviously, he came in against Texas in the SEC championship game in the second half and led his team to victory against Texas, which was impressive. But he just seemed more like the game manager type, and came in and was just kind of running the ball. They ran the ball well, and they set up some quarterback run stuff that we just did not expect with Carson Beck starting the game. It seemed like we had only prepared for him. But I just was like, okay, we're not sure. Can he do it as the full-time starter? And I've been very impressed with him. The command he has over the offense, the poise he shows, the way he can throw the football to their guys. And when the play breaks down, he can run the football. So he's a really good player. And their offense has become the most scary thing about Georgia, which is kind of crazy compared to the Georgia that we saw last year, when that defense was pretty much terrifying because they had superb playmakers at all three levels. They're a little bit differently built this season than they were last year.
Okay. Georgia has played a little bit with fire this year. All right. They beat Tennessee at overtime, 44-41. Lost to Bama by 3, 24-21. Did take care of Kentucky, 35-14. A close game with Auburn, 20-10. Which I kind of think speaks to Auburn's talent and how they were being held back by their coach, but whatever. A one-score game against Ole Miss, 43-35. 24-20 against Florida. They did finally break out against Mississippi State. It shows that they have the ability to go score at times, but it also shows that there's some vulnerability, right? The Alabama game, the Florida game, and there was one other game, and the Auburn game. So they've had 3 games on their schedule where they didn't light the world on fire offensively. Texas could be the best defense they've played all year.
Yeah, that's the thing with this Georgia team. It's just different, right? Before, we knew they would be up and down on offense, but you knew they had those just absolute studs on defense with Jalen Walker and Javon Carter. Jalen Carter, what's his name? Jalen Walker.
Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
The one who plays for the Eagles. I think they all play for the Eagles.
Not him.
Oh, that wasn't Jalen Carter
last
right?
year. Yeah, Jalen Walker at linebacker. And
okay.
So those dudes they had last year were absolute studs, right? On the edge and at linebacker. They were able to get pressure at will. This year, however, they don't get after the quarterback unless they're blitzing. All their pressure comes by sending their linebackers on a blitz. So Texas should have time, or should have a little bit of time to throw this week, unless something just dramatically changes with their pressure packages. I'm expecting Arch to have time. So this is going to be a game that I think it's set up for Arch to have some success. So I want to see what Sark's game plan is going to be against Georgia's defense. Can we get guys open? Can we hit them and try? Because I think there's going to be some chances against their defense. I'm actually more concerned with their offense this year, which is, again, crazy to think about.
Well, but that's what I just asked you, though, Kevin. I just said they played 3 games against Florida, Auburn, and Alabama where they didn't score out of the 20s, low 20s. And this is probably the best defense they played. What makes you concerned about their offense when you see that there's a potential that a good defensive game plan keeps them kind of in check?
Just because, man, Georgia is a team that plays up and down to their level of competition, right? Last year when we played them, obviously we're coming off the Red River Shootout. And if you look at how they had played up to that point, they just had not been impressive at all. And then they come out against Texas and they have a defensive game plan and a performance that was unlike anything we saw from them at any point last year, before, even after that game. So for me, when they respect the team and when they prepare, I've just heard stories about everybody saying how locked in they were to play Texas. So I expect to see them at their very best, whatever that is. I expect to see them there. And I think that offense is going to be gunning for us. I think they have a game plan for us for a while. I have some concerns about some things I've seen with our secondary from a communication standpoint. I know we had guys hurt in the game against Vanderbilt.
Right? Speak to that real quick. Speak to that because your injury
both
report is
down. Yeah, we have both safeties down. Michael Taft with a broken thumb. Jelani McDonald went out with a concussion early in the Vanderbilt game. And then our other corner, our best corner, Manny Muhammad, was on a pitch. He didn't play the whole game either. He was benched. We had 3 guys out in the secondary. However, that doesn't excuse Eli Stowers, their best player, getting open for a 67-yard touchdown on a coverage bust. I don't care who's back there. That can't happen, right? Doesn't matter if you've got freshmen in the game. You can't have a bust in coverage like that. So there's some things, and even when those guys have been in there, even when our top guys have been in there, I've seen a couple things that have me concerned. So I'm hoping during the bye week that they really spent the time and cleaned some of that stuff up, because Gunnar Stockton and these Georgia tight ends, right? The receivers don't really scare you. Zachariah Branch is a dynamic player, but the tight ends are what really scares me. They've got 3 good ones that they throw to, and they kind of lull you to sleep. They do a lot of play action with the tight ends leaking across the middle of the field, and they do a great job of finding him. And they run the ball well too.
Doesn't that make you jealous? A good tight end play?
Yes, well, they have 3. And look, Texas, I'm not going to complain too much. With Texas, we had good tight end play for the last 3 years.
Yes, you did.
Right? Gunnar last year, JT
Sanders. I hated it.
But this year, no, it hasn't been there. That's why I think we're best at when we spread out to. And Sark likes to play. He likes to play 2 tight ends. So he loved it when he had Gunnar Helm and Jatavian Sanders, because he could play the 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. I think we should be playing 11 at a minimum. I wouldn't even be upset if we played some 10 personnel with no tight ends on the field, because I think we're just better as a spread up tempo team. I think that's when our offense has been at its best this year. But I don't think Sark's ever going to play without a tight end, really, at any point. But so with Georgia, they've got 3 good ones. Lawson Lucky has been really good. Oscar Delp is a very, very talented player. And they all can block too. They can block, they'll lull you to sleep, then they'll hit the play action, and they use these guys in a variety of ways. So it's going to be a big communication thing. I'm hoping that we took this week and we prepare for this Georgia team like it's a playoff game.
You have to.
Correct.
You're out of the.
They're that good.
There's a really good chance you're out of the playoff if you lose.
Correct. And the thing with Kirby, right? And I know he annoys me, he annoys you, his antics on the sideline. But man, he when they're ready to go, he has his team so prepared. The little details. When they came to Austin last year, just some of the little coaching things that he was doing, some of the defensive scheme stuff that he was doing, you could tell that they had really, really, really scouted us. And they scouted us like it was a playoff game. They were so prepared for everything that we were doing offensively last year. And I hope that we've been paying them the same type of respect going into this game, because it's going to take all those little details are going to matter if you want to go into a place like Athens. They just don't lose there, John. It's just,
Okay, let's
for
talk.
us to go in there, it's going to take just an incredible performance from all three phases to beat them.
Let's talk Athens, Georgia, then just for a minute. Is this the best SEC environment / venue to date for Texas? And I'm including A&M.
I mean, I don't know. A&M was different because what that game meant to them after so long, and they were so determined to beat us. It'd be hard to top that. But, I think for Georgia, with us having never been there, at least in the modern times, I think it's going to be an amped up crowd. It's the best combination of a great environment and a great team. So I don't know if the environment's going to be better than A&M, but I think they're a better football team than A&M was last year. Like, I was not
You weren't scared
nervous
of A&M.
about that.
You weren't
No,
scared
we
of A&M.
weren't. No. And the thing about it, this is a team that it's important, right? Because this is only year 2 in the SEC, but they have a chance to go 3-0 against us in the conference because they beat us twice last year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot on the line here. And also, just another kind of side note between Texas and Georgia, on a recruiting standpoint, Texas has gone into Georgia the last couple years and gotten 5 stars out of the state. Justice Terry, who's a freshman defensive lineman for us, and now committed, they have Tyler Atkinson, top linebacker in the country, out of the Atlanta area. That's a guy that Georgia normally gets every time. He's coming to Texas, So I think Kirby's nervous about that. If they lose this game in Athens,
who else do they get? Yeah,
correct. Yeah, now the door is wide open. Now, again, the doors for Texas have been open for them for years since A&M went to the SEC, but they don't want us coming in there and taking 5 stars out of their state. And if we can win this game, that door just gets open more and more. So there's just a lot on the line. There's a lot on the line for Sark, who has a horrible record against the top 10, right? Even at Texas. I know a lot of those came in his first year, but the record is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? So
it's not.
There's just much on the line.
It's not great outside of that. It's not. I mean, was A&M wasn't a top 10 team last year, were they?
I don't think so. They might have been right outside.
Yeah,
they
were
top 10
or something.
Yeah.
Because they've lost to Ohio State. Michigan wasn't in the top 10 last year. They lost to Georgia last year. They didn't play any top 10 teams.
Lost to Georgia twice last year.
What was Oklahoma this year?
You guys were in the top 10 this year. Yeah, you were in the top 10 this year. And so was Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt's fair. Vanderbilt was playing good ball.
They were.
Vanderbilt was playing.
I think you even thought with Oklahoma, you say, okay, we're a good football team, but you were like top 5. I don't know about that.
I never thought we were. Yeah. Now we beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Hey, we'll start talking about it. All right, Kevin. Before we preview the week, let's talk about our sponsors. Brown O'Haver has been with us since the very beginning. They are public insurance adjusters. That means they are licensed by the state of Oklahoma and 22 other states, including the great state of Texas, to adjust claims on your behalf. So if you've had a loss to your home or your business that you need to file an insurance claim for, call Brown O'Haver, 405-735-5510. They routinely get their clients 30 to 40% more than they do on their own. Give Brown O'Haver a call. Let them work for you, not the insurance company. Kevin, who are you in for?
I'm in for Pioneer Roofing, John. We talked about this, right? Hailstorm went through the metro area, particularly through Midwest City down to Choctaw. We have been helping people all around the metro get new roofs from this storm, right? The hail was bad, damaging up people's roofs, damaging their gutters, their fences, all that. If you've been affected, give Pioneer Roofing a call. They'll go out and give you a free inspection, help you through the entire process, get you a new roof. Give them a call, 405-549-2712.
Just a very quick recap from last week. We took the weekend off due to the bye week, which was much needed. I needed the rest too. We took the bye week off, but we still made our picks. Kevin, just so you know, you went 2-3 on picks. I went 3-2. We both had BYU. We both had A&M. So BYU was a loss. A&M was a win. You had Oregon. I had Iowa. Boy, I wish I would have pulled that out. We both had Bama. And then we both also had Navy against Notre Dame. Notre Dame rolled. However, I do want to real quick talk about the catch by the Indiana receiver from Mendoza to win the game against Penn State. I don't know that I've seen a better game-winning catch in a really long time. I'm not sure I can pick one off the top of my head that was better than that.
No, they had every reason to lose that game, right? Penn State, and I give them credit, right? This season's been a disaster, but the kids have just kept playing. They played good enough to win the game. It looks like they had it under control, and man, that last drive, they just went straight down the field. It's a championship type drive, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those drives you look back on from a national championship winning team and say, yeah, this is kind of when we knew that this team was legit. It was very impressive. And like you said, that catch, man, just the things that had to go right for him to be able to get his foot down first, that left foot, when his right foot had all the momentum. So for him to get his left foot down before the right foot touched out of bounds was just an amazing moment. So props to that kid for making that catch, and props to Mendoza for making that throw, and just props to Indiana for just finding a way to win on the road at Penn State. Very impressive stuff.
Look, it takes games like that. I mean, Oklahoma, when they won in 2000, had
you had game after game like that.
Yeah, but
Nebraska
even against teams that weren't very good, right? Like Oklahoma's
and on the road.
A&M wasn't bad that year, but they weren't very good.
But on the road, right? I mean, you needed a pick six from a linebacker, to get to.
I think about the Oklahoma State game where we needed Derek Strait to swat the ball away at the end of the game. Like it came down to the final play, and if Derek Strait doesn't have a pass breakup, in the end zone, I'm not sure we go down and score on him, which is crazy, right? Because Oklahoma State was terrible that year. But that's what happens in college football.
It's rivalry, yes, college football.
Yeah. So anyway,
it's like Miami needing that crazy pick six. I mean, back in 2000, that crazy pick six, and he pitched it to Ed Reed. I mean, they're about to lose to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Without Michael Vick, so yeah.
But anyway, that was great. Other than that, the games were okay. There were some okay games, but that one was fun.
That was it.
I mentioned the Iowa-Oregon game. Not the most exciting game, but pretty exciting in the last 5 minutes. And I really thought Iowa had a chance. But just like Indiana, man, when the lights came on, Oregon just marched right down the field. And that's against a good defense on the road.
Correct. Good defense on the road, crowd going insane, looking for their first conference win in what's been a horrible season. So you're looking for hope, right? You guys weren't that as bad as these guys were. But last year, right, the Alabama game, right? The crowd was just into it, just hoping for something good. You just want to feel good, right?
Yeah.
That's what Penn State was. They just wanted something to feel good. Hey, season hasn't gone the way it's gone, but to get a win over the number 2 team in the country, and I think we can all agree, even before the game, that Indiana's legit. When they went to Eugene and really beat down Oregon. So it's just impressive for them. Also, John, A&M over Missouri, 38-17. I know the quarterback's hurt for them, but still, Aggies just kind of keep on rolling, right? Keep winning.
I think they're pretty good, man. I mean, we
talked
about it.
Yeah.
Have they beaten a ranked team outside of Notre Dame?
Missouri was ranked 22.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, but I mean, it hasn't been a gauntlet at all.
Have they beat a team that's currently ranked outside of A&M? I mean, outside of Notre Dame.
No, I don't think so. I've got it here.
That's still Auburn, concerning.
UTSA, Utah State, Notre Dame, Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, LSU, who fell apart, Missouri with the third string quarterback, and then they've got South Carolina at home, Samford at home, and then of course they go to Austin on November 28th.
I still think they're kind of good though. I really do. I think Elko's
Me
done a
too.
good
I don't
job.
think
I don't
they're a
want to take that
fraud
away.
at all. I don't
Yeah, I
think
don't
I'm
want to
not.
take that away
I
from
don't think
them.
they're a fraud. No, I'm not either. Their schedule has. It's kind of like the same thing people were saying about Texas last year.
You got to win the games on your schedule. That's
Correct.
all you can do. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
it worked out. On paper, it was a tough schedule. It just worked out that it just really hasn't been. Also, last week, obviously, Alabama over LSU, ugly game. I would feel good about watching that game if I was an OU fan, right? I'm sure that has kind of led to why you feel good the way their offense looked.
It wasn't Tiger Stadium though. You know, there's something different. You go on the road, wasn't it? It wasn't in Tuscaloosa.
No, that was in Tuscaloosa. It wasn't Tuscaloosa.
Oh, really? Okay. It
was.
All
which
right.
makes it look even worse for Alabama.
Oh,
maybe they're looking ahead to y'all. Y'all are a better football team. But real quick though, BYU and Texas Tech, man, Texas Tech all over BYU.
Yeah, and then you've got Texas Tech fan complaining about where they're at in the playoff, and it's like, listen, I love you BYU, and I was pulling for you, but you're in the Big 12. I can't feel bad. You're getting one school in.
So who was upset? Tech fan was?
No, BYU fan was upset that well, how can Oklahoma and Texas and Notre Dame with 2 losses be ahead of us? Because you play in the Big 12. Like, I don't know.
Correct. That is 100% why.
I don't care.
Yeah, you play in the Big 12, man, and yeah. I mean,
you get one shot. You get one shot at the Big 12, like that. And BYU's not dead by any means. They went out and they beat Tech, and they're in. So
you're in. You still control your destiny, man.
You've got to win to get in. You're not getting any benefit of the doubt in the Big 12 or the ACC.
No,
it's just not happening.
No, and the ACC for sure. I mean, that is 100% going to be a one-team league. There's just no way.
Real quick, let's just talk about the playoff. Just since you brought it up, let's just talk about, and then we'll go through the games. But the current playoff rankings: Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Bama. That's your top 4. Georgia, Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Oregon. That's your top 8. Notre Dame and Texas would be in today if it ended. Oklahoma, first one out. BYU, second one out. Because they're have to include the ACC winner, which right now they have Miami, and I don't think Miami can win a conference championship. So I'm not sure
how that's going
to work. We'll see. But they are number 15, but essentially the 11th seed. And then number 24, South Florida, is essentially the 12th seed. So I'm fine with the rankings. I'm fine where Oklahoma's at. You know, Texas has to be ranked ahead of Oklahoma. What happened on the field has to matter. You'll never hear me argue against that. That being said, Oklahoma's fine. You beat Alabama. You're in the top 5. You beat Alabama. You know,
you control your own destiny. You're still in control of if you get into the playoff or not.
You beat Alabama. You beat Alabama, and you jump. Well, depending on what Texas says to Georgia, but you definitely jump Notre Dame, and you're right behind Oregon. Like just it's square solidly in there with Oregon. Like not on any kind of bubble, but BYU fan, like you need to win the games. You got to beat Tech. Sorry, you got to just go beat them. So,
you can't lose like that. And I know they had some drives and that got into the red zone and they weren't able to convert on. But you just, a lot of these voters, people voting on this, they aren't watching the game. They're just looking at the scoreboard. And you lost 29-7.
I'll tell you the problem is some of them watched the game, Kevin, and you know what they saw?
Yeah.
No, they saw a quarterback with the number 47.
Yes. We talked about that before the game. They're like
that. Yeah, we talked about it before the game. That's unserious. Okay. That's not what you need to see from your quarterback.
Yeah.
Joe Young, I hope you're listening. All right. This Friday in the ACC, Clemson at Louisville. Louisville's ranked. Louisville is a 3.5-point favorite. If you just want to continue to pile on the ACC, Clemson, go ahead and win that game, and let's just keep making this thing as ugly as possible.
Yes, we need more ACC chaos. I'm here for all of it.
I'll tell you what the problem is. I don't want Duke in the playoff.
Yeah, the college football playoff. No.
For
We'd
example,
rather have Clemson in the playoff. If we're being honest,
yeah, yes.
right?
For
Just for name
example,
recognition and player recognition, or Clemson or Miami.
let this sink in, okay? This game's happening on Saturday. Virginia's at Duke, okay? Virginia is 8-2 and 5-1 in the ACC. Duke is 5-4, but they're 4-1 in the ACC. And Duke is favored to beat Virginia.
They're favored by 4.5 too. It's not even like it's a pick 'em, like a 1.5 point spread. No, 4.5.
No,
Like, what is this conference, man?
A 5-4 team is. Look, dude, I don't even know. I'm sure it's because we're in the SEC now that gives me this air of superiority, but it really isn't close.
But it's true though.
It's
I mean, Georgia Tech is 5-1.
I'm not saying I want. I'm not saying I want any part of Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech's
no. I would hate to play them.
But the conference as a whole is a joke.
Correct. Yes, you just can't take them seriously at all.
Well, their best team in the conference, Kevin, is Miami. That's the best team in that conference. But they laid 2 solid gold eggs out there, and there's nothing
every year.
You can't put them in with those losses.
No, you can't lose to Louisville and SMU.
You can't do it.
Not both. You can lose one, right? Like Alabama lost to Florida State. It's fine. Texas lost to Florida. Okay.
Yes.
But not two. Not two, man.
Not two. Minnesota at Oregon. Oregon's a 25.5 point favorite. On Saturday, Wisconsin at Indiana, 29.5 points. The world that we live in, where Indiana is a 29.5 point favorite over Wisconsin, is
what a time, man.
Wow. It's like I feel like the machines have already taken over and have altered our reality completely. You know
what I mean? For sure, man. Wisconsin announced that Luke Fickell's back. They can't fire him, man. They don't have the money, and who's gonna replace him? I legitimately don't think they can afford his buyout.
Kevin, I don't even know who's going to fill the jobs that are open.
Me neither. This LSU thing, they have completely, from an administrative aspect, just completely talked their way out of Lane Kiffin. If you're not going to LSU with that crap show.
Listen, I was on the radio this past yesterday on KREF on the Plank Show in the morning, and Dusty Dvorak was on. So I got to ask him. I just asked him, like, is what is happening at LSU a detriment to their hiring process? And he was pretty candid. And Dusty's a pretty smart dude. He's like, well, I don't think it's a deal breaker, but with so many other jobs open, it's definitely a factor.
Correct. You look at Florida a little bit more heavier than you would at LSU right now.
Or you're going to put LSU in a bind by demanding more guaranteed money.
Correct. Which is
right. So you're like, hey, if you're going to pull this crap on me, I want guaranteed contracts, which is that's going to hurt LSU. Which, guess what, Kevin? Now that we're in the SEC, and even before, I want LSU to have to pay out every freaking dime. I don't want them to.
They're not going to get out of that. They're not going to get out of having to pay that. They're asking Brian Kelly to take $25 million, dude. What?
Kevin, is there anybody in the world that likes Brian Kelly?
No.
Like anybody. I don't even think his wife likes him. He might have grandkids, and they only like him because he buys them stuff. Correct. Okay? And I'm not even sure he buys him stuff. It's probably his wife that buys him stuff and puts grandpa on it. But anyway,
listen, the man got a job at LSU, the head coaching job at LSU, and none of his assistants came with him. Not one.
And yet, my point is, there is nobody on LSU side on this.
No. How could you be? You fired the guy. Yes, you fired the guy during the season.
Kevin, the governor of LSU said our athletic director sucks. He's not going to be a part of the hiring process. He stuck us with this guy, and we have to pay him $54 million. Done.
Yeah, correct.
The governor of LSU says we got to pay him $54 million.
Yes, you have to pay. You got to pay it. You signed up to the deal. You fired him during the season, right? Which maybe if you'd have handled it better, maybe you could have worked out a deal. But yeah, you can't humiliate the guy by firing him during the season, which I don't think they needed to do. Honestly,
No,
I
it
just don't think
wasn't.
they needed to do that. Sometimes it's like, okay, this is over. But even then, you can wait. Texas waited to the end of the year to fire Charlie Strong.
Yeah, but Charlie Strong was a nice guy.
He was a great guy. Everybody liked
Charlie
Charlie
Strong
Strong.
wasn't
Charlie
he
Strong.
wasn't a
That's true.
dick.
Yeah,
He was a terrible football coach for Texas, but he wasn't a dick.
yeah.
Brian Kelly's
Everybody liked.
yeah. First SEC game of the day, Saturday, South Carolina at A&M. A&M's a 19.5-point favorite. I would love for South Carolina to rise up and get one win this year. I don't think it's happening in College
I don't
Station.
see it either, man. It's just been one of those years. We call it the year from hell, and that's exactly what it's been for South Carolina. Coming off a great last season, it's just, oh man, for them everything's gone wrong.
Everything. Notre Dame at Pitt. Pitt's a 12.5-point favorite. Pitt is in the driver's seat in the ACC if they win out. They're playing in the ACC championship game with a chance to go to the playoff. They're so confident in that their coach, Pat Narduzzi, says this game against Notre Dame being broadcast, where game day is being broadcasted, the supposed game of the week means nothing to him. And he's okay if Notre Dame beats them 100-3 because all that matters to him are conference games, and that's what he's focused on. I don't even know how to respond to that. I'll let you have some thoughts on that.
I mean,
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Is it reverse psychology? It's so unheard of for a coach to say something like that publicly. Is this some kind of reverse psychology on Notre Dame? Trying to lull them to sleep so then they can come out with their hair on fire and get up to a 17-0 lead and see if they can grind it out? Or does he legitimately feel that way? I just can't imagine a coach saying that publicly and being serious about it. I know it's not a conference game, but you have a chance to knock them out and then get yourselves in. Like that would just give you some major credibility if you can knock off Notre Dame, even though we don't know how great Notre Dame is.
I am all for mind games or whatever, right? Coaches have different ways they think to motivate, or I don't know. You cannot put stuff like that out in the ether, man. You cannot put that juju on your team where you accept that losing's okay.
Right.
If either one of our fan bases had a coach that said, I don't care about this game, they can beat us 100-3, I would expect that 90% of our fan base would want that guy fired before that game even started. Regardless of the situation, Kevin. Regardless of the situation. It's okay if we lose 103. Is it really, Pat? Is it really okay if you lose 103? The answer is no. It's not.
He's got to be trying to lull Notre Dame to sleep, right? Because there's no way they're not prepping for this game like it's a natty. Notre Dame, man.
We're picking this game, 12.5-point favorite. Michigan's at Northwestern. Northwestern's at 11.5-point home dog. USF at Navy, looking to maintain their hold on the Group of 5 playoff appearance. They are a 9.5-point favorite. Navy's kind of a good team, but Notre Dame really beat them down. Arizona at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 6.5-point favorite. UCF at Tech. Tech's a 23.5-point favorite at home. NC State at Miami. Interesting game because NC State's had a couple of weird wins despite an otherwise lackluster season. This looks like a game Miami could lose. They probably won't, but they could lose this game based on their past performance.
Yeah, based on just the way Miami is, this is definitely one they could lose.
I would like them to go ahead and lose and be put to sleep for this year. They don't deserve to even be in the conversation, if you ask me.
If they lose a third game, the questions are going to start coming in about Cristobal, right?
Especially
this would be the third year in a row that
a third game in this league. A third
Correct.
game in this league, Kevin. Yeah. It's not good.
This would be the third year in a row too where they started off really hot through September, October, and then fall apart in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I was on the Miami bandwagon. I thought they had the dude at quarterback that they needed to have. They seem to have playmakers that they've got that freshman who's just dynamic.
Oh, he's so good. Yeah, he's so
I
fun to watch.
I can't think of his name right now, but man, he is like Tyreek Hill,
Malachi Tony.
without the baggage. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and then they had a big, strong, fast defense that you expect Miami to have when things are rolling. But I don't know. It's been disappointing. Georgia Tech's at Boston College. Georgia Tech's 16.5-point favorite. Iowa at USC. I have us down to pick this game.
Yeah.
SC still has outside aspirations at the playoff. Now
they are 5-1 in conference, John.
Kevin, they've got to beat Iowa, and then they're going to have a matchup with Oregon
on the road, mind you.
Outside of that, they've got a pretty manageable schedule. So they're thinking, man, we could outside chance of playing for the Big Ten championship. I don't think that'll happen. We think Indiana and Oregon will both. I'm sorry, Indiana and Ohio State will win out. But let's face it, Ohio State still has to play Michigan, and we've seen what that happens. I don't know what
listen, man. We talked about Texas, Oklahoma in the early 2000s. It's up here, man.
Yeah,
with Ohio State and Michigan.
I don't know what the tiebreaker is, but yes, they're outside looking in, but they've got a chance. I was thinking they let one slip away to the number 2 team in the country. Now they've got to go across the country and play at SC. I do think they've got a pretty good defense. We saw what they were able to do to Oregon. The weather wasn't great, but we still saw what they were able to do. Nebraska pushed SC a little bit with their defense. It's a 6.5-point favorite. I mean, SC is a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah, this one's interesting, man. This one's interesting. We know what Iowa's about. We know that they're going to play sound defense. I think Lincoln can out-scheme them a little bit, at least get enough points to outscore Iowa. But, yeah, this one's interesting. I'll have my eye on it. Obviously, I won't be watching too close because that's when you guys will be playing, but I have an eye on it.
You don't trust it? Well, I guess we're picking it. I'll save your picks, man. New Mexico State at Tennessee, 41.5 points. Florida at Ole Miss. We're going to pick this game. It's probably the 5th best game in the country on Saturday. Ole Miss look, they stumbled against Florida last year. This was the game that kept them out of the playoff.
Correct.
So despite Ole Miss being a 14.5-point favorite, something to keep an eye on.
It is, yeah. It's not in the swamp, though, but go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, thankfully for Ole Miss, it's at home and not in the swamp.
Lane Kiffin photobombed a proposal at midfield. Is Lane leaving Ole Miss?
I don't know if he is, man. If you asked me right when these jobs started coming open, I would have said yes. But I don't know if he is.
Why? I still don't know why. I still don't know why you would.
Correct.
I don't know why you would. Look, man, he had a rough stretch as a young coach. He was probably too young. He was way too young to get the job as the Raiders head coach. That was.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I don't know what Al Davis was thinking there.
That was abysmal. And then Tennessee to have to be the guy that followed Fulmer, and then you get your quote unquote dream job from SC calling on you. I think he made a rash of bad decisions that left him scarred a little bit, probably.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And now you're at Ole Miss. You're the king of the castle. We talked about this. You want to go to Florida? I mean, I don't think he's going to LSU.
No, I think LSU has screwed that up.
I think it's Ole Miss or Florida. I just don't know in 2025 if Florida is significantly better than Ole Miss in terms of jobs. And also, you can go 9-3 at Ole Miss and not get fired.
Yes, it's not going to be the end of the world there. As long as you have them competitive, keep bringing in talented players, beat Mississippi State, compete against Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee.
Beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
He's beat Oklahoma the last few years. Yeah, they're
beat Tennessee a couple times.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
I don't know. All right. Utah at Baylor. Baylor's an 8.5-point dog. Dave Aranda's another one of those coaches where you think maybe he goes, but Baylor, if they're smart, I also think looks at the landscape
not this year. Not this year. No.
Unless we've
Nah,
got a guy, I don't trust it.
correct. And unless he just completely, unless it falls apart, they start getting blown out. But if the team is still playing hard and showing up, not this year.
Not this year. UCLA at Ohio State. Ohio State's a 32.5-point favorite.
Yeah. Nothing really to discuss here.
Well, the only thing is UCLA had like a resurgence for like 2 games.
They did.
You know?
They showed a little bit of fight after the coach got fired, but yeah, that's a tough rebuild too, despite having some geographic advantages in Los Angeles. But you
what
hear
do you think about what? Yeah,
their
about
the
the
stadium.
Rose Bowl.
Yeah, correct. What do you think about that? I mean, obviously the Rose Bowl is a Rose Bowl, but it doesn't even feel like you're at the same stadium when you're watching UCLA play there compared to the Rose Bowl game.
The Rose Bowl is the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
The stadium that they play in is a hollow, empty shell of a football stadium that they can't fill.
Correct.
It's.
So I mean, look, if they want to go to SoFi, go ahead.
What is this? What's the seating capacity at SoFi?
SoFi is massive for an NFL stadium. I mean, it probably holds 65, but I think it can be configured to hold more. Let's see, SoFi football capacity.
Yeah. What is it?
1 second. 70,000.
Okay. Well, the Rose Bowl holds 20,000 more people.
Right. They can't fill up SoFi.
Well, maybe you can't fill up SoFi, but you sure as can't fill up the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, they can't fill up the Rose Bowl.
And in SoFi, my guess is you could probably black out.
You can figure it. Correct.
You can probably black out some upper levels that you can't really do at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Isn't it more convenient to the campus?
Let me see that. So I'm checking right now.
Yeah,
12 miles from UCLA to SoFi.
4 miles?
Check UCLA. 12.
Oh, 12. Okay.
12 miles from UCLA to SoFi, but from UCLA to the Rose Bowl, 26 miles.
And that's in LA.
Correct.
So those aren't like real life miles. Those are California miles, which makes
we're still talking about an hour drive in LA traffic.
Yeah.
Correct.
At best.
Man, some things that we take for granted as fans, right? Just having our respective stadiums on campus. For the 2 LA schools and Miami.
Yep.
Just having to travel to play home games sucks, man. That sucks for students, sucks for everybody.
No, 100%. 100%. But hey, you saw Houston make some stadium changes.
I did see that. I did see that. We're at about 4,000 more seats and a bunch of suites and stuff. Got to keep up, man. You got to do it.
It's weird. Listen, I'm an OU. I'm a football fan. I'm a college. I love it. I do wonder sometimes, when does it all end? Where's the? And maybe it doesn't, right? I don't know, but God, we put a lot of money in some of this stuff. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, thankfully, football's self-sustaining and not, it's not coming from the, university's general scholarship fund. But yeah, it's big business, man. And you got to continually invest in it in order to keep up. Texas building a massive facility, because before Texas had to take a bus to get to their to the practice fields. They're not right there. Yeah, they're not right next to it. So now, they were able to get a building, an academic building, moved, and they've torn that down and they're building a new facility or practice field.
I can't believe it took that long.
It took so long. Yeah, I think it was a deal because one of them was it was like some kind of designation, historical type designation with the building. So it took a lot for them to finally get them to agree to move the building. So
TCU's at BYU. BYU looking to bounce back, 4.5-point favorite. Arkansas and LSU in a
That's a close line, by the way.
It's a close line. I think
for a
I
home
think
game
they're
in Provo.
well. I just think they're thinking of the bounce back factor, right? You're having to
Yeah,
recover from getting
it's
beat by Tech
just
and
got
kind
my
of getting
attention.
beat down.
Just got my attention a little bit. Just 4.5. And just you know, I'm just curious there. They feel TCU's offense. They run similar offense like Tech. Do
I
they feel
think
like that could be an issue for BYU? I'm just curious why that spread is so small. TCU
well,
struggling 3-3 in the Big 12.
BYU has not gotten any respect on the line, and I think their against the spread numbers have been heavily in their favor up until the Texas Tech game.
Yeah,
So they beat the spread numbers against Arizona State. They beat the spread numbers against Iowa State. They beat the spread numbers against oh gosh, it was another school. Well, Utah, obviously, because they beat
Utah.
them
Yeah,
outright.
they did.
So they've been their numbers against us really good this year. I think this is just potentially. I think Vegas undervalues BYU. Not saying that what you said is minimized. Maybe there is some matchup issues that somebody's
Yeah.
seeing. I just think Vegas undervalues BYU.
Real quick,
By the way,
speaking of BYU,
did they lose to Delaware last night?
who?
The basketball game?
I did not watch any. I was at the Thunder game
No,
last night.
okay. All right. I went to bed early. They were losing to Delaware at halftime. Delaware was
Gee.
0-2. BYU's like the number 7 team in the country. They
Oh,
didn't win.
yeah,
They
we
didn't
got
win
that
though.
insane freshman,
Yeah.
the
He was
Devonta
good too.
kid.
He was
Yeah.
good in the second half. Yep.
Real quick, also next week could be one of those loser leaves town matches in the Big 12. BYU and Cincinnati.
Where's that game at?
The game is in Cincinnati.
Ugh.
Yeah, and Cincinnati 5-1 in the conference, as is BYU. So Cincinnati has Arizona, BYU, like you mentioned, has TCU. So if they both win, setting up a pretty big game there.
Yeah.
And at that point, both teams only have one game left. So whoever wins, you're completely in the driver's seat for playing in the Big 12 championship game.
100%. Arkansas at LSU. LSU's 5.5-point favorite. Tennessee Tech, 10-0. Tennessee Tech is at Kentucky, 4-5, and there's no line because apparently it doesn't matter. And then Mississippi State at Missouri. Missouri is a 7.5-point favorite. Kevin, let's start with Florida Ole Miss. I told you the line was 14.5 to Ole Miss. Who do you got?
I'm going to roll with Ole Miss here. If it was in the swamp, I might feel a little bit differently, but I think with the way Trinidad Chambliss has played all year in Ole Miss, I think they're locked in, seeing what could be not only a chance to get into the playoff, which we think they pretty much almost have a foot in the door of that, but they still got a chance to play for the SEC title. And I think that should be important for them. I've heard about some teams saying, hey, maybe it's better to not make the SEC championship game, especially if you're going to be in the playoff, to have to deal with the prep and the, physical game that's going to come. Instead of that, you can have an extra week to prepare for the playoff. I don't think Ole Miss is going to look at it that way. I think they're going to have an opportunity to play for the conference. They're definitely going to take advantage of that. So I think they're locked in. I think they're going to beat and cover against Florida.
I understand the logic, but there's something to be said about the SEC champion.
Right.
You talked about it
completely
last
agree.
year. You talked about it last year when Texas was playing Georgia.
Oh, man, I wanted that one, man.
Yeah.
I really wanted that one.
What it would mean for Texas to win that, and the same thing for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's out. I got kind of cocky about Oklahoma being I don't know, not with Ole Miss with one loss. I was probably talking out of my butt there, but still, man, that would be special. God, it would be so special to win an SEC championship.
Yeah.
I just
especially for us, for our respective programs.
and
right after coming into the
got plenty of time. You got 3 weeks until the playoffs start. Stop it.
Yeah, that's. I don't even know if any teams actually feel this way. This is kind of what I've been hearing from fans and some reporters too.
I'm going to take Ole Miss to cover because I think it's at home. I was at USC. I think USC covers.
So do I.
I think they cover the 6.5.
So do I. I think Iowa keeps it close. They play good defense, but I think, thinking out schemes them and just comes up with a couple of big plays that Iowa just can't match.
Yeah, and I think the weather worked in Iowa's favor against Oregon, and that I'm guessing this is just a wild guess, but I'm guessing that won't be the issue in California.
You know what?
Is
I
it
am
raining?
showing I am showing potential rain in Southern California, which I don't know how they're going to deal with that.
What? Are you serious?
Yes, Saturday rain in the forecast in Southern California, 60 degrees, which might as well be snow and ice on the ground.
Dude, they're showing like thunder and lightning at the one I'm looking at.
Yeah,
70% precip. Oh my
in
God.
Los
Listen, dude.
Angeles.
That
They
you know
better
what?
get that counter ready. Lincoln likes to run that counter.
Listen, dude.
So
I just changed it. Thank you for the weather. I'm going with Iowa.
uh
Keep it
I
close.
don't
I
blame
just
you. I'm
changed
still
it.
gonna roll. I'm still gonna roll what I see here, but yeah, that weather. I was like, oh, this is it. This is what we do.
The weather might bite. Yeah, the
The
weather might bite.
uglier, the better.
All right. Pat Narduzzi has Notre Dame in the points. Do you have Notre Dame in the points?
I'm gonna go with Pitt here. I think he's just trying to set them up, and they're gonna come out at least aggressive. I think they can keep it close. I think Notre Dame's better, and they win, but I think Pitt can cover.
It's 12.5. That means Notre Dame's got to win by 2 touchdowns. I didn't think they were going to be able to do it with Navy. That was like a 26.5 point spread, and they rolled. I don't think the ACC is any good. I think Notre Dame covers, man.
It
You had
wouldn't
Pitt, right?
surprise me. CJ Carr is awesome. I really like this kid at quarterback they've got.
Oh yeah, the Pitt quarterback or the Notre Dame quarterback?
No. The Notre Dame quarterback.
Well, the Pitt quarterback has come in after like game 3, though. Who's that kid? Let me look up his name real quick.
Oh, the
Um,
high is it Heinzel?
Mason Heinzel. Yeah, Mason Heinzel. Yeah. He's kind of come in and been a stud. Um, but he wasn't the beginning of the year starter. So I think it could be a good quarterback matchup. You do like the guy from Notre Dame, though. And I like
Yeah, I'm a
Jeremiah
big
Love.
CJ.
Look,
Oh yeah.
I think Notre Dame wins the game, but well, I mean, obviously I got to pick them to win. I think there's too much. I think the run game's too much.
We got a lot of talent, and they got a great coach. Got a great coach,
All
man.
right.
We both love Freeman.
The University of Texas. The biggest game of the season so far. What happens in Athens?
I've got Texas covering. I'm not sure if they're going to win the game, though. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man. Everything is going to have to go well for them on all 3 phases. We'll see. We'll learn a lot about the team after this week. I'm picking Texas to cover, though.
I am taking Georgia to cover. I think the at-home environment is going to be too much for Texas. They struggled at Mississippi State. They struggled against Kentucky. You've struggled obviously at Ohio State.
Yeah, and
It's
obviously
clear,
Florida.
and obviously Florida. So it's clear you've had road struggles. So for me, I'm taking a cover, and maybe it's a touchdown game, 28-21, whatever. I'm putting it all on the road environment because I think that is going to be the deciding factor in this game, and Georgia's a good enough team to use that to their advantage. Okay, Oklahoma, Alabama. I'm with you, man. I think OU covers. I just like what you said. I don't want to like repeat it, but it's true for me. I think their defense is good enough to keep this close. Other teams have kept Alabama, it's been within reach. Okay.
Correct. LSU had a great defensive performance against them last week.
Yeah. And so look, if we can keep Alabama in the 20s, then I think OU could also get to the 20s. Now, which side is which, I'm not sure. I'm going to take OU to cover the 5.5.
Okay, I'm kind of going like you did again with Texas. I like Alabama here, but I think this is a 4-quarter game. I don't think it's ever comfortable. I think it's a late cover really for Alabama. I think you're in this game the entire time. It's one of those kind of heartbreakers. Kind of like I think the way you're describing the Texas game is going. But like I said, you're in it the entire way. It's going to be a great football game. I just think they get the cover at the end.
Kevin, you wanted to bring up the Heisman race. We've got about 5 minutes left. I think people could stand to listen. So let's talk about this just for a second. Fernando Mendoza with a ginormous play of the year, drive of the year for Indiana to keep their undefeated season alive at Penn State. In a lot of ways, in a lot of polls, is leading the Heisman race. However, the bettors have Julian Sayin out of Ohio State as the betting favorite. Others of note, Ty Simpson, Marcel Reed. Anybody not in that list for you that could still make a run these last 3 games?
I think that there's a great chance that the winner of the Heisman Trophy is not amongst those names. I just don't think any of these guys. First of all, I think Sayin has been awesome. I've been saying it all year. He's kind of what we thought Arch would be. He just keeps getting better and better and better and better. If I had to vote for the Heisman right now, I would vote for Julian Sayin. But I don't think he's getting the national buzz that a Heisman winner would be getting at this point. And I feel the same way, really. And Mendoza, I don't know if he's well known enough, right? So I still think that the vote, there's going to be somebody else, and I think there's a chance. I think Mateer can get back in it. He was kind of the darling to the start of the season. If you guys go on the road and beat Alabama and he plays well, I think he can get into it. Think about this. I'm reminded of 2018. At this point in the season, no one was talking about Kyler Murray for the Heisman Trophy. Nobody was. And then he goes on this run. You guys get the win at West Virginia, get to the Big 12 championship game. He is outstanding in the rematch against Texas. Next thing you know, he's winning the Heisman.
Tua gets hurt. Yep.
Yeah. So I think there's names out there. Mateer, one of them. I'm not even discounting Arch just because people are going to see. If he were, here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he should win, but if he were to go out and just lose his mind against Georgia, it's very unlikely. And then Arkansas, and then beats A&M. These big games on these big stages, big platforms,
and then wins an SEC championship.
Yeah. If again, unlikely, but it's not outside of the realm of possibilities. Just given what we have elsewhere, just because there's no guy right now.
I think Ty Simpson, if he puts good numbers up against Oklahoma, can make a run at Sayin and Fernando Mendoza because he's the quarterback at Alabama, right? I mean, if the quarterback at Alabama is doing good, he's going to be able to make a run.
Yeah, it means something. Yeah, but you're the quarterback at USC. That means something.
Outside of those guys, I still think Chambliss has a very sneaky chance, kind of like that Kyler Murray, right? He's the dual threat. He's exciting. He's going to have three. He's going to have 3 teams that he could probably put up a lot of points against, like a lot of stats against Florida at home, Mississippi State, and then I don't even know who else they have.
That's it. That's all they have left. They've got.
They only have 2 games left.
They only got 2 games left.
I don't know if he can do it in 2 games. He'd have to win the SEC championship.
But they could end up in Atlanta. There's a good chance at that.
I just think the kid's really good. I think he's a really good story. People love stories around the Heisman. To be a 0-star kid coming out of high school, and then you lead Ole Miss to the SEC championship. The first SEC championship will have won since. Did they even win one with Archie Griffin?
With Archie Manning? I don't think so.
I'm looking it up real quick. SEC championships football. Yeah, they won it in 63 was their last one. 1963.
It's a long time, man.
It's a long time. I mean, it's a different world. And I just think the story is so good, right? So that's, to me, is kind of the dark horse pick would be Trinidad Chambliss. I think Mateer, much like you said with Arch, Mateer goes on the same kind of run.
Correct. Yes, you beat Alabama, you beat Ole Miss and Missouri and LSU.
And they write off the Texas loss to his thumb, right? That's what everybody's going to do. I don't.
It's just one of those things. I think what we're both saying is it's wide open, right? There's no Reggie Bush in this deal. There's no Matt Leinart, Vince Young type, just superstars. Those guys were just mega stars. And there's just no one like that this year.
I think Fernando Mendoza is a great college quarterback.
Yeah, he's been great.
I don't think he's playing in the pros. Do you?
Well, I think he'll be. He's just with his size and what he's done.
You think
Yeah, he'll
so?
probably be a first round pick. Yeah, they're so desperate to find quarterbacks, man. Yeah, Fernando Mendoza is going in the first round of the NFL draft.
But will he
No
play?
doubt.
I mean, do you think he's any good? Do you think he's good in the
That I
pros?
don't know. It's so hard to say, man. I thought Trevor Lawrence was a generational quarterback, and I don't even know they should give him a second contract. That's where,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I won't make a prediction, and I'll be wrong about it. But all right, man. Hey, listen, this is it, dude. This is the week.
this is it, man.
Our seasons continue or they die, Kevin. Right now, right here on November 15th, I cannot wait. The games are opposite each other in time, so we're going to be able to watch all of them. They're on ABC over the air, right? So I don't have to worry about YouTube TV. It's going to be fantastic. Kevin, you have the great rest of your week. Boomer!
Welcome.